Eating Legos. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's someone, and welcome back to Deliriant Week. This report was sent in by Joe. When this happened, March 2020, the drug used, Diphenhydramine, at a dose of 1200 milligrams, the route administration, orally, gender, male, weight, 145 pounds, age, 18, first prior experience, cannabis, codeine, DXM, LSD, shrooms, ketamine, Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, ecstasy, cocaine, tramadol, Xanax, K-pins, and more. For his set, he was bored, and the setting, at home, and briefly around the neighborhood. Alright, welcome to the third episode in Deliriant Week. This episode, we had the follow-up diphenhydramine trip from Joe. Earlier this month, we had another diphenhydramine report titled Nonsensical Conversations, where he also had taken 1200 milligrams. I highly recommend you check that report out first to build some context on the situation. He wasn't necessarily looking to trip this time around, but just kinda did it. And I'm sure you can tell by the title, he ends up doing some stuff he didn't necessarily intend to. Like the first report, his parents do end up being involved, and he experiences many delirious effects, strongly of hearing things and people not being there. At 1200 milligrams, Joe submerged into a delirious state again, and thankfully, no serious consequences come of it, considering he does eat Lego bricks. But I'm sure you'll enjoy this report, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. This isn't something I was expecting or wanting to write about. In my mind, a few weeks ago, I had quit DPH for good, wanting absolutely nothing to do with it. But everyone makes mistakes, and that's why I'm writing this. I'll just start off by explaining that boredom got the best of me. I decided to go steal 1200 milligrams of DPH from my local convenience store. Quarantine was getting boring, and I was looking for a way to spice things up, even though I told myself I would never touch the stuff again. The 2 boxes I had sat in my closet for a day until I got bored enough to take it. It was Saturday night going into Easter Sunday, and yes, I knew it was going to be Easter. It was around 7 when I took 800 milligrams. This was all I had planned on taking for the night, because the last time I had done 1200 milligrams, I ended up getting caught. I stayed up, tripping away, until about 3 in the morning. The trip I had wasn't bad. It was a typical DPH trip. I saw things breathe, talked to people who weren't there, etc. It was at this point where I came to a fork in the road. Do I take more, or do I just go to sleep and take the rest another day? I wish I had just taken the rest another day. 400 milligrams more down the hatch. I don't remember anything between this point and what happened next. According to my parents, around 6 in the morning was when I decided to just take my dog for a walk. One thing I've always said to people is to never go out unattended while delirious, but here I was doing just that. I remember being on the walk and thinking I had lost my phone. I spent the entirety of the walk retracing my steps, looking for my phone, thinking, how could I be so stupid to have lost my phone? Not even remembering that I was delirious. As I would find out later, my phone was just at my house. After being out with my dog for about an hour and a half, my dad finally found me a few blocks away from our house and told me to get in his car. I didn't think anything of it, so I got in the car with my dog. As I got in the car, I heard my dad's voice say, "You look like John Stamos." I looked over at him and, in a confused tone, said, "John Stamos?" He looked at me weirdly and didn't understand why I said that, because as it turns out, he hadn't said anything at all. It was at this point that he figured out I was on Benadryl. After getting home and being lectured, I was told to go stay in my room with the door open. My dad came in, and I asked him if I could take my dog for another walk. He said yes, so I started putting my shoes and coat on. As I was doing this, my sister walks past my room and asked, "Where do you think you're going?" I said, "Taking Barney out for a walk." She laughed and said, "No, you're not." I started to get frustrated and told her I just asked Dad, and I argued with her until I realized that I had gotten permission to go on a walk from someone who didn't exist. As I sat in my room looking for things to do, I noticed I still had some of those really small Legos. For a while, I was trying to build what the directions said, but after a little success with that, I ended up with the Legos in my mouth. I don't know how or why, but I must have thought the Legos were pills because I proceeded to put them in my mouth and swallow them all down excitedly. I still don't know how I didn't choke. And I still don't know how I went from knowing they were Legos to thinking they were pills. The point is, I eat Legos. There isn't anything very interesting past this point, so I'll say this is a good point to end the report on. But before I do, I'd like to say that anyone who craves delirium, remember, you are sacrificing your body and mind to reach a state that puts you at risk. You have no idea what you're capable of doing or thinking of doing while in this state. I didn't expect to eat Legos, but I did. It could end up being more serious than that though, like, I don't know, jumping in front of a car. Take DPH at your own risk, or don't take it at all. Have a goody day.